What's up YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. First up, thank you so much for all the comments about the mill. Brian is looking awesome, he's looking really good. Brett's been down as well, and we've just had an indicator up the spindle and stuff and checked out where his machine is. It's all cock on, it really is. I am going to need to adjust the bearings and stuff as I use it, so I'll use it for like 20 minutes or so, and then I'm just going to indicate on the spindle again, and if I need to tweak the bearings up, I'll tweak the bearings up, it's fine. But I will get to the point where it's all found a home, everything's bedded down, and we're all good. So, but now he's up and working, I can start making stuff. I'm gonna start simple because I need to get used to it. So anyway, this is just an arbitrary bit of junk I had laying about, and I shoved a 20mm hole through the middle, and I'll just use this as an axle plate, just so I can adjust the chain on Asbo. So we're going to make some proper ones, because it's going to be easy. So let's have a sit down think, and we'll draw something up, and then that's what we're going to make. Right then. Right. Let's stick that go on there. Yes. Right. Just lopped a bit of this alley off. It is a ropey bit. You can see it's all marred up and everything where it's just been around the workshop. The cut face is actually the best face there. So that's going up against the fixture. And we can start squaring this off. Right, this is going really well actually. I'm loving using this. Got my little block down to size. I decided to go for 20mm deep instead of 19, just because it's a hex nut on the adjuster, and just if it's like long ways, if that makes sense, so point to point rather than flat to flat, it just means it won't overhang. So we've gone 20mm instead. So it's 20mm that way, 50mm that way, 39mm that way, all within 0.05 or something, basically 0.05. Well, it's cock on this, it's 0.05 on my vernier, which is what I measured it with. But they're guesstimators anyway. So now we need to start putting some features into it. So I think all I'm going to do is put the shoulder into it first, you know, the step into it, for where the bolt's going to go. Noisy buggers today. Oh, Cam, I don't know if you can hear it. I'm going to have a look at this in the footage and see if this is doing the do. But there's a Jewson's truck out there, there's Mrs. Woman with a pressure washer jobby, and there's a tree felling firm with a chainsaw going. Everything is against me today. So yeah, we're going to put the features into it. So if we have a look at this, basically I'm going to mill out this bit here, put this dip into it. There is a little radius. I do have a bull-nosed end mill, 6mm in diameter, so that'll be a 3mm radius in there. So the idea is I'm just going to leave that last little 3mm in the corner, and then I'll come in with this and take it out, and hopefully we'll get a nice radius to it, but we'll see. And I can stick the little angle on the end there as well. I've got a chamfering tool, so we'll just whiz along there and just neaten the end up, and then it's just a case of shoving the hole in it basically. These corners at the back where it goes into the swing arm, I'm going to put just a little chamfer on those as well. Reason being that, you know, nothing is ever dead square. So just give it a little bit of clearance for it to move up and down and sit all nice and flat to the swing arm. So that's the bit I'm doing next. Using a DRO is so much easier. You just go by the numbers. Once you've got it set, you're there. It's just a case of letting the machine do its thing. And he is doing his thing. We still have a little bit of oil coming out, but it's not a lot. It's not bad. It's basically when you turn the damn thing on, because obviously as it's all draining whilst it's stood still, it gathers on this ring round here. Then you fire it up and you get a line. I don't know why I wore white today, but you get a line there of oil just spirals out. It is good though. I am loving playing with it. It is well good. Right, let's get it started. I've already indicated this with my little edge finder, and then I've adjusted it so the centre of this tool is smack in line with the edge of this. So that's a 16mm tool. So we've got to move it over a bit. So 8mm plus how much on the drawing? It's going to be 10mm. So 18mm. Right. I keep turning the hand wheels the wrong way as well. Right then, that's the first one done. Am I happy with it? Sort of. Oh, don't get me wrong, it looks an awful lot better than this. I'll get some pictures side by side so you can see what's what. But that was just a functional thing. This was going to be a bit more finished off and everything else. It is all the right dimensions, everything is in the right place and blah 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 blah, but I'm not happy with it. It's not in the bin, but there is something going on with the mill which I need to get to the bottom of, and I haven't done so yet. But you might notice I'm wearing a different t-shirt. That is because yesterday morning I spent the whole bloody day cocking about with the gibs and getting everything set right, and whilst I was there I adjusted the linear scales and put shims in there and indicated all that, so all that stuff is absolutely fine. But the thing I'm not happy with is the finish. I'll get some close-up pictures of this and just put them up one after the other. I'll stick them up here. But where I did the fillet, you know, down in this corner here, you can see I've got skip marks and chatter marks and everything else. There was no noise from the machine at all. I'm not getting chatter, I'm not doing any of that malarkey or anything else. And where I've done the face milling, I can see swirls in it, and it's almost like the edge of the tool is caught in a few places, and you get this little, you can't feel anything. That's the thing. They are so fine, but they're there and I can see them, and I don't want to see them. And where I did the chamfer on the back here, that bit is not very great. What I should have done is set it in some angled blocks and just gone straight across it with an M mill, which I will be doing on the next one. Again, it's quite a rough finish. You know, you can feel it with your fingernail, you can see it with the naked eye, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be absolutely dead nuts, lovely finish, and it just ain't. So what I think is going on, I think the spindle bearing's knackered. I think that bottom spindle bearing is done, and I need to get another one. There isn't any perceptible movement. You can't move it with your hand, and I've indicated on the inside of the collet holder and everything else and just rotated it, and I'm not getting any runouts or anything else. But I think once you put the machine under load and then you side load it by cutting through material, I think that's where I'm having the troubles. I've tried adjusting them, nipping them up a little bit more, but if I go even to the next hole that I can put a locking screw through, then essentially it seizes the spindle as soon as you turn the power on. So they're adjusted as well as I can adjust them, but I'm not getting the finish that I want. I think, well, I'm not sure the bearing was all that grand to kick off with, if I'm honest. But I'm thinking where I took the bearing out, I maybe didn't do it any favours. Let me get the puller and I'll show you. Right, so this is the bearing puller that I used to get the spindle off the bottom. It's one of these jobbies. Essentially you've got these standoffs that go in here, you put a clamp on it and you can wind this nut in to drive it off. This is the one that I used, but what I'm thinking, because the angle on this is actually, you know, it starts out real thin, but the opening's not that big, so it's these bits on the edge that are engaging, and there's like a collar that sits around the back face of the bearing, and I think it's caught on that, and it's basically compressed the bearing as I pulled it off. Because I was taking the bearing off, I should have just got another one and stuck it on then, but I don't think this did it any favours at all. There was a fella, oh, what's his name? He's got one of these mills as well. One Man Engineering, that's it. And I watched his video and he used one of these to get it off. And I thought, I've got one of them, I'll just use that. And he reused the bearing as well. I don't think he's run it up yet because I haven't seen him get that far with the machine. but I'm willing to bet he's going to have the same troubles that I'm having. So what I should have done is just replace the spindle bearings anyway. So that's what I'm going to do, I think. Yeah, it's no biggie really, end of the day. Yeah, I've made a nice little part. It looks all right. It could look better. Once I get a brush finish on it, you're never going to see it all anyway. And that'll be absolutely fine. But you know, I wanted to start simple with something like this, just so I can get used to Brian. If I was to do this again, I'd be doing two together, and then I'd slit it down the middle, and then I'll bring them down to size. But you know, if I do them two separate individual ones like this, then it just means that I get more chance to play about with Brian, get used to him, figure out the good bits and the bad bits, and if I need to change anything, I can change it, which is what we're doing here. So I'm going to see if I can't, well, I'm going to make the other one anyway, because I know I can get it good enough, and I'll just put a brushed finish on it, and you know, you'll never know. But then I don't want to do the yokes until I've got that bearing sorted. Swapping the bearing out is easy. It really is. It don't take that long at all. The head unit on that comes apart dead quick. I just need to have it out. There is a bearing manufacturer or bearing supplier locally, so I'll just go in there and go, have you got one of those please, mate? I'll probably do the top one as well. And then I'll have a sit down when he tells me the price of them, and then I'll get them anyway. But as a first bit off of Brian, that ain't too shabby. That ain't too shabby at all. Right, let's get a picture now whilst I remember, because otherwise I won't have anything to stick on the video, will I? Sweet. It's a little bit later, but I've now got two done. And now I've got my grubby fingerprints all over them. Just gone over them with a bit of emery and WD, just to give them like a brushed up finish and stuff, but they'll do. They'll do a treat. Curiously enough, I've gone over these with the calipers, and I've also had a go with micrometers and stuff as well. I made these just using the DRO, basically flew the numbers. So it was exactly the same dimensions in each way and blah, blah, blah. And it has to be said, they have come out really, really good. Like, really good. But once you get close with a set of micrometers and stuff, they are off. They're not the exact sizes on the drawings, which just adds a little bit more weight to my thoughts that the spindle bearing needs to be replaced. Because it should be absolutely cock on. I mean, they're easy good enough for what I need to do. Actually, let's stick them on. Right, well, it's on, and it's going to do the job as well. The adjuster nut is all the way in. The chain is a little bit on the slack side, so you know I've got movement there, and this is all on stock gearing, so I know that that's going to be good, and that's a new chain. I've rediscovered my little hash marks down here as well. Basically, scrape enough crap off, and you get to see stuff again. But they're in, they're working, it's all lined up. That'll do to do. I'm going to change it up a little bit though. I don't like the way that these corners stick up, so that is going to get radius top and bottom, just because I don't like the corner basically, but that can all happen at some point. As far as I'm concerned, I just want the bike functional and back on the road and safe, so that is going to do it. That is going to do it a treat. I do quite like how it's turned out. It's a real simple thing, real simple. But it's good to have like a real simple project that I can just get my feet wet on the mill with. You know, I've tried out all the tooling, the Jacobs chuck, the collet chuck, the boring head, all that sort of stuff. That's all fine. and I know it's all going to work, and I know that the machining that Brett did in the top is all good. We just got to sort those bearings out. So I am going to get a set, probably, what, today's Saturday. I've got to chip off to my work in a minute, so it ain't going to happen today, but I'll have the head apart. There's a local bearing fella, I'll just take it down and go, you want any of them? Hopefully he'll say yes, and we can stick it all back together again. I will do a video on that, just because I can't find anybody else who's got videos about Archdale milling machines, so you know, it might be good reference for someone. And then we can crack on with this. So I was looking at this there, it's not going to fit, ain't going to work, it ain't going to clear. Well, it does clear actually, but it's only like a mil clearance, which ain't enough. Tyres deflect a lot when you corner, especially when you're going over bumps and stuff like that. So I need to make another torque arm, which is easy enough. I'll probably do it out of round, just because I've got round. Well, I don't really want a square one. Then the rest of it is pretty simple. Shove the exhaust back on again. The foot pegs, I'm going to press out those rubbers and replace them with alley spacers, just because I hate the way that they wobble about. It's horrible. But then the back end is basically sorted, and we can carry on with the front. If I can get the spindle sorted, new bearings, and get it all cock on and running lovely and everything else, the next big thing I'm doing is going to be the top yoke, because I really want to have a go at that. That's going to be a nightmare to do, but I really do want to have a crack at it. It's going to be interesting anyway. But that's where I'm leaving it today. Thank you ever so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one. Laters!